The chaos returns. Welcome into the Casual Chaos Podcast, the sports wagering community. Hope everybody's doing great out there. It is 8:46 on a Thursday night. I'm joined, as always, by my co-hosts, Jeff and Bubba. What is up, fellas?
Doing all right, man. How are you, JayAsh?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here, as always.
Bubba, how are you?
Very good, very good. Pumped. Almost melted today at the Rays game, but we'll get into that a little later. Or we can get into it right now.
It's hot in Tampa, and it's only April.
Yeah,
Welcome.
yeah.
Welcome to the spring.
And what's it going to be like at that stadium in July, right?
I don't know. I mean, hopefully they play mostly night games because day games aren't going to work.
Yeah.
I don't see many people showing up to them.
People looking for a dome if they only had one in Tampa.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, welcome back to the pod. Not only my co-host, but the audience, fans. Do we have fans yet, or is it still just an audience?
We're working on it.
We are working on it. We're trying to get it going. The good news is Bubba is consistent. Didn't grow a beard back, so he's got the same look for 2 weeks in a row.
Yes.
2 out of 3 is not bad. For those new to the show, welcome in. This is the Casual Chaos Podcast. And again, it is the sports wagering community. And the key word is community because this podcast is actually about you, for you. As much fun as we have doing it, the concept here is to interact with our audience and fan base and have you send in your wagers, your plays, so we can talk about what you're looking at, what you're betting on, why you're doing it. If you want to send in videos, if you want to interact with us on all the socials, send us those bad beats where you're ripping TVs off the wall, chucking remotes through the TV, or you're running around a bar like you're on fire because you just hit a big parlay or a player prop, whatever it is. We want to hear from you. That's what it's all about. We're going to keep it going. But before we get into any form of tickets in our next segment, let's just see what's going on. What's been happening this week, Jeff? What are you paying attention to?
Yeah, so last night I like probably a lot of people, I checked out the Mavs Lakers game, and
Huge.
Yeah, I mean it was crazy. For the most part, it was a great game, and then the Mavs were up by 2 with like 7 minutes left, and then the Lakers just went on a huge run. But a couple things. I mean, obviously, most people have probably seen the video of Luka sitting on the bench while they put up the tribute video. So that was pretty crazy.
Genuine emotion.
Yeah, can't remember seeing a guy crying on the bench, 2 minutes before he's getting ready to go play a game. And then of course he went out and played he had a monster game. So that was good for him, obviously. But
his over-under points last night was 31.5. He had 31 at the half.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
you sent me that text at halftime. I was like, I think he's gonna hit the over. So
What did he finish with?
45.
Yeah.
45. 45, 8, and 6. And oh, by the way, we traded him because he doesn't play defense, so we threw in 4 steals to give a double middle fingers up.
Yeah.
I'll tell you though, the other thing was I was actually proud of. I didn't know what to expect from the Dallas crowd. And of course they were cheering Luka, but they were still rooting for the Mavs. So good for them.
Once the game was out of reach, every time he scored, the whole building erupted though.
Yeah. True. Which is fine.
And Cuban went in for the hero hug after the game. I don't know if you guys caught that or not.
Yeah. Mark Cuban.
So
anyway,
what are you gonna do? Listen, it was a good story, but the reality is it's one of the worst trades in NBA history if you're a Mavs fan, and should never happen. So not surprising he went back and threw daggers. It was an easy $100 for me last night. I don't know about anybody else.
I mean, you're probably right about it being the worst trade ever, but let's revisit it in 3 years, right? Let's see if he's 300 pounds or if he can't stay healthy, or I think that's what it was all about. I mean, that's why they got rid of him. They just didn't trust him to stay healthy or stay in shape, Now, this trade might have changed everything, right? He might turn into a workout junkie for the rest of his career just to stick it to them,
I think the rumor is he's following LeBron around. LeBron wants another ring, and he needs Luka to do it, I think. Yeah.
Sponsored by VersaClimber or Ozempic, one of the two.
Anyway, so Bubba, what's up with you, man? What you got going on?
Nothing much. It's been kind of a quiet week for me, but I've been focusing on obviously the Masters, and then I had a chance to go to the Rays game today down in Tampa, and there's been stories obviously about the A's and the Rays playing in minor league stadiums, and I even saw a headline yesterday about it and how they're going to handle it. The A's are in much better shape, I'll tell you, because California heat is not Florida heat, and today I'm telling you, we left in the top of the fifth. We couldn't handle anymore, and I've been in Florida my whole life, so I don't know what you guys got to say about that, but I don't know how these games are going to be played in June, July, Tampa.
Double-edged sword. Team should be in Tampa. Team needs to be in Tampa. Need a new stadium that mitigates that heat, right? Whether it's a full dome, which I'm not a huge fan of, the partial dome or retractable dome. I remember the original plans 2 years ago with some weird misting system and this sail, which was going to, you could have AC, whatever the case may be, but the fans still need to show up to show that you can actually have a team here and support it. So It's going to be real interesting come actual summer because, we went to opening day. We were walking up the stairs and we were saying because, Buck Stadium is right across the street. And it's like, I would never, I don't like going to Bucks games in September.
Yeah.
I've got club seats and I always, find myself in the club most of the game. But the reality is you would never go to a Bucks game in July and August. You wouldn't even think about it.
No chance.
Right? So it's across the street. It doesn't change the heat factor. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what happens.
It'll be very interesting if the Rays go on a run, how the playoffs look here in Tampa.
Sure.
I guess we should mention for those who don't really follow baseball, the place that the Rays usually play called the Trop got crushed with a storm a few months ago and tore the roof off. They couldn't play there, so they're playing at the Yankees one of the Yankees minor league stadiums in Tampa. Only holds like 11,000 folks, so that part of it's awesome. But like these guys are saying, it's outdoors, and if you've ever been to Florida in the summertime, it's not the best place to be outside in July or August. So
yeah, Jeff, we talked about it earlier, but the game was sold out today, and I would say 65% of the seats were full. I mean, it just nobody was there.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, it's a shame. Well, hopefully it comes back around. So, well, I spent the first, I don't know, let's say Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're at Thursday now. I was thinking about the national championship game for a couple days. The Final Four weekend was great, just as I thought it would be, as far as just two great games on Saturday night. Aesthetically, maybe not what everybody was looking for, but you could see the talent was there. In both those games, there wasn't a ton. You weren't like, oh my God, there's a number one pick, Cooper Flagg, and he's just dominating. It was just Houston hanging around and ultimately winning that game was great. Florida on brand, apparently, down every game they've won in the tournament and come back and win again Saturday night, which was fantastic for some tickets that we're going to talk about here coming up. But just overall, it was a great tournament. And then Monday night, I thought Florida was dead in the water. Houston goes up 12 and they find a way to come back and win the game again. I do have a gripe, and I think, Jeff, I texted you and Bubba for that matter during the game. It was two games. It was two different games. The first half, there was 3 to 4 total fouls.
Oh, yeah.
And then the second half, there was 19. And I don't like when the officials, do that. At one point in time, Florida had 7 fouls and Houston had none. And then all of a sudden Houston gets hit with 3 in 9 seconds, which seems almost like time space continuum impossible. Right?
So would you agree, Jay, would you agree though that they were fouls? They just weren't called in the first half? Or do you think they weren't fouls at all?
Well, I know you asked Jay. I'll jump in. I mean, it was a physical game, right? So
right.
If you're going to let it be physical in the first half, to Jay's point, if you're going to let it be physical in the first half, you got to let it be physical in the second
That's
half.
my point, though. But, across the board, there were probably fouls, but you didn't call them in the first half, so you can't change up the second half.
I agree. Yeah.
Right. If you don't call flopping in the first half, you can't call flopping in the second half.
Exactly.
Right. To steal Raph's line, there was a lot of ticky-tack, I thought, in the second half. It was just like, why are we calling that? And then the announcers have to go, on a replay. Oh, yeah. You saw his knee kind of slightly graze his calf there, and he fell down. It's just like, come on.
And it ended up determining. I mean, it had an impact, right? Florida was hitting free throws at the end. I mean, it's like it mattered.
I'm not going to take it away from the Gators comeback and the Gators win. But I just didn't like the way the flow of the game was in the second half. Being a Tampa resident, I feel awful for Sharp, who's a Tampa kid. You're going to live with that your whole life. I mean, unless
Tampa
they come
Catholic,
back and
right?
Yeah, unless they come back and win the national championship next year. I mean, he can go on and have a killer NBA career. I have no idea what the future is for him, but you're never going to forget this game. You're just it's impossible.
Yeah.
I'm dating myself here, but it just reminded me of the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Remember that, Ash, the Worldwide of Sports on ABC, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because Florida's going nuts, and he's like on his knees with his head down. You know what I mean? It's you don't like seeing anything end that way, but it's sports. So
yeah. Well, that's the weekend review, I guess. That brings us to real time, and I think producer Tyler, I think we're ready for talking tickets.
Absolutely. Before we get into that, I mean, we had one of the biggest records ever broken this weekend, and none of y'all talk about it. We got to talk a little puck a little bit. Ovechkin broke the record that was seemingly unbreakable this weekend, so that was pretty cool. That was what I was kind of tuned in on, but other than that, right now it's everything else was all Final Four and all that. So we got some bets on that this weekend. So we had our first bet. We talked about it a little bit last week. I believe we had John B. threw in a bet on the under on the first half of Florida Auburn. Unfortunately, a little bit of a loser. They ended up scoring 85 in the first half, so big number there for John B. on a unfortunate one to get off of the blocks here with a loser. But all in all, great games this weekend for college basketball.
It was good insight by John B. I think we all kind of agreed. Big stage.
Yeah, the bright lights. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's the problem with betting sometimes, right? You can have the right analysis, and it doesn't play out the way you want it to.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then kind of not really switching gears, but we went to the national championship game, and we had Chi-Town O, a new member of the team here, submitting some tickets. Chi-Town O had a nice little double parlay, so he 10-2. Unfortunately, we're only going to show one because they were both losers. Some crazy prop bets here. Over 2.5, some rebounds, some points across the board, both sides of the fence with Florida and Houston. Unfortunately, only a $20 loss there, but all in all was a loss. So unfortunate for Chi-Town O that his first one that he submits with us is a loser, but we'll get him back on the board soon.
Going off of quick memory there, it looks like he was 50% on that, so it wasn't close to cashing. So we're not going to qualify it as a bad beat, but it was a good effort. 3 out of 6 ain't bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Parlays are tough, man,
especially with a 6-leg parlay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, especially when you're throwing in different sports and whatnot. So we got one here from Tim Shady. Throwing in a little bit of soccer in the Italian league, I believe, and the Spanish league with Inter Milan and Barcelona, and then the Yankees to win. Unfortunately, both soccer games ended in a tie, so that's a loser in soccer when they end in a tie, which why do you allow ties at all? But the Yankees pulled through for him, but unfortunately the other two are already losses. So Tim Shady's in the L column this week.
I have no commentary other than I'm just proud of the audience for the diversity in their wagering capabilities.
Absolutely.
Welcome into EuroLeague soccer. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I just want to know how far down his whatever book he's using he had to go to find those soccer bets.
Oh, it's not that far. You just ignore it. It's there. It's like why do I have to scroll down? Like you're killing me.
It's right past ping pong. Right.
I actually think it's the third. I mean it's the third most popular betting sport, even in this country, So, yeah, Bubba, you're ignoring it. That's on you.
It seems
absolutely. Right. Well, everything is football, right? Football is the biggest one, so we'll turn our wheels to football. But the UFL. So talking about Italy League soccer, we're switching gears to the UFL here with the Birmingham Stallions. Our boy $1 Ant, football head. got a W this time. So he got the Birmingham Stallions with the money line bet, 44 to win 80. He also had the under in this game, which hit. So 2 good winners there for $1 Ant, who got himself in the win column in the football statistics here.
Attaboy.
So I reached out to $1. Just, he's sending tickets in. I wanted to engage with a follower, and he informed me that he's 5-1 in the UFL.
There you go.
So,
well, he should
he
should be sending in more tickets, and he should be an official friend of the show. We transitioned from football, FUTBOL, into the UFL, and I'm not betting either. I'm out. Can't do it. Won't do it. So.
Well, not only do we got the UFL, again, we were talking a little bit of hockey with Ovechkin breaking the record, but we also have a nice parlay
this
right
is
here.
Sick.
Goal scoring parlay by BK here, $400 to win $13,000, a little over $13,000. He had 3 goal scorers, and it looks like maybe the Buffalo Sabres versus Boston Bruins game the other night. So big W there for BK. Awesome bet. First win I think we've seen on the hockey side this year, so that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good one, man.
That's 2 used cars right there.
The third name was Geeky, and you're geeking out on this bet. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You're just throwing down 400 on 3 goal scorers, and all 3 names were challenging to pronounce. So we're just going to land on Geeky. Geek out, pick up your 13-4, and just have a party. See, that has to be a video somewhere. Somebody had to film that guy getting excited. Send it into the program, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to imagine with the odds on that bet that those, I mean, again, folks, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a huge hockey guy, but I have to imagine that those 3 individuals that he threw in that parlay are not huge goal scorers for that to be, 13,200 on a $400 bet.
Yeah, Tyler, it was 30 to 1, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yep.
I mean,
you
have to have at least. I mean, that's 5 to 1, 6 to 1, and 9 to 1. I mean, at least to get up that much. So
yeah,
that's crazy. I love it.
And then
Good
again,
stuff.
We had the national championship game, and we did get a W for JP. JP sent in a winner. He had Florida -2.5. Oh, this is actually against Auburn. Excuse me, I misspoke here. This was against Auburn, so UF covered against Auburn, so had a W there. Which is awesome that we got on the board with the win column for the first time for JP, sending in some picks there with Casual Chaos here with you. We appreciate you. Send in your picks, guys. We really need them to really help us get the conversation flowing here with you guys. So this is a community for you guys, not just us to sit here and chat. So please send in your tickets.
Yeah, and as you can see, I mean, whether it's a $20 bet or a $30,000 bet like we saw a couple weeks ago, I mean, send them in, man. All we want to do is see the action. So it's all about having a good time, and we'll talk about you if you send the stuff in. So
we're a fan of you, JP. We appreciate it.
Send some more.
Let's go.
Please, and kind of switching gears here, we got our last winner that came in probably about an hour and a half ago. Casual Chaos's very own JayAsh with a W with Justin Rose in the first round leader, $10 to win $610. What a pull there, JayAsh. You love to see that for the fellows here on the Casual Chaos podcast.
Can we turn the camera off? I think I'm smiling too big to get back on.
How many of those $10 bets did you put in on like other golfers though?
So Bubba and I were texting this morning, and the audience needs to get to know me a little bit as we get to know them. And I love betting golf. It's one of my favorite things to do. I'm not very good at the game myself, but I like playing, B, love betting it, because you don't have to be good at it to recognize who is. But the best part about golf is, everything you're doing for the most part is either low odds for the favorites or plus odds for even the favorites across the board. So it's kind of a calculated spray and pray. I'm not a big fan of just trying to isolate a field of 100. In a major, you got a smaller field at the Masters, but you want to isolate a handful of players that you think have opportunities, and you want to put a significant amount of money in play spread out across the board, right? So if whatever your unit gamble is, you start doing fractional units of that. So anyway, to answer your direct question, Jeff, I had two $10 plays and I had six $20 plays. The $10 play obviously hit. It more than covers everything. So it's a net positive, I believe, of 480 off of that. So
nice.
I'll take that and run. I know we're going to have a big Masters conversation now. But just from a gambling standpoint, I've got an absurd amount of wagers. Again, I think I sent to Tyler earlier, 48 total wagers in play between winners, top 10s and top 20s. So when you hit the first round leader, always gives you a cushion, takes the exposure. I think my exposure is down to under 50% now. So it's going to be difficult for me to lose money in this unless there's some, a bunch of collapses, but let's just get into the Masters conversation in general right now. What did you guys watch today, first and foremost?
I didn't have a chance to.
All right. Way to blow up the pod.
Hey man, I got another job too,
No, I hear you. I know Bubba was at a baseball game, and I know producer Tyler had his eyes locked on it. So Tyler, why don't you jump in here and get the conversation flowing a little bit?
Oh, yeah, I watched most of it today, kind of up on the third screen at work today, and awesome. I know listeners that were listening last week on episode 2, which go watch it on YouTube, guys. Go listen to it on Spotify, all that. Find us on all those platforms, Casual Chaos Live. But going to the Masters this past weekend was just awesome. I got to see actually Augusta National in person, which was unbelievable, but watching it today was just incredible because being there, you just appreciate it a lot more from a golf perspective. But yeah, there's some guys that I got on my board that are playing well. Now if Justin Rose goes out and shoots 7 under every round, no one's going to catch him, so it won't really matter.
Right.
And then you got the Terminator, Scottie Scheffler, who just seems to really not make many mistakes. But he did make 2 bombs today, so if he doesn't make those, you're talking about he's shooting a 70. So, where's he at in the field? Are we really talking about him being like, okay, he's really in it, or is he just kind of lurking in the background and in the shadows? So there's some guys that can definitely make a move. Tomorrow will be interesting. I think they're supposed to get a little bit of weather and wind, but it would be super interesting to see what happens tomorrow. All my plays, for the most part, played okay. Outside of all my lefties that I took, apparently all the lefties decided to just play like shit today. So unfortunately,
I don't know. Akshay finished -2. So if you
strong at the end too.
Yeah.
He almost holed out on 16.
Yeah.
So guys, I only went to the game for 5 innings. So I watched leading up into the game, and then I watched after 5 innings. I watched every second of it. So I've got some commentary too. It's actually pretty cool. I went to the game with a buddy who actually played Augusta National probably 3 weeks ago, and we watched Rory when we left the game. We were watching Rory's round, and as soon as he hit the chip, he goes, "It's going on the water." I guess he remembers, obviously, he's fresh off playing it. He's like, that ball's not stopping. Sure enough, when the water kind of blew up his whole round. But I watched, I listened, and I don't know if you guys know this. I'm sure you do now, or if not, I'm about to tell you. But Justin Rose, the best first-time starter ever at Augusta.
I heard this today.
He's got 7 first-round leads at Augusta and is 20 times playing there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And no jacket. Crazy.
Calculated spray and pray.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. To your point.
Yeah.
And then I saw another story today about the Masters, nothing to do with gambling, but pretty cool. So I was there last year and I saw Bijan Robinson. There's just celebrities everywhere walking around, but apparently the kid, Ken Griffey Jr., is there as a sports photographer. So people are just running into him on the course, just walking around watching golf, and then just running into a Hall of Fame baseball player, arguably the best of all time. I thought that was a pretty cool story.
Well, yeah. This will derail the whole conversation, but isn't Randy Johnson a sports photographer too?
Just about to say something in the Mariners' water in the 90s that they just love photography, because Randy Johnson 100% takes pictures at like Wimbledon, like crazy.
Yeah. That's I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Wild coincidence there.
That's nuts. So just back, I got to ask you both. I've never been there. Bucket list thing, obviously. When you're there, obviously it lives up to expectations, what everybody says. But and I know you guys are both golf fans, so you've been watching this, maybe your whole life, if not, your most of your adult life. Does it change the way you watch it on TV?
Absolutely.
How so?
Absolutely. So I'll tell you a little story. So it's 20 seconds, but I was at the tee box at 1, right, watching players tee off, and then we walked down. We followed a group down 1, right, and then we walked back up 1, and I was out of breath. And this was last year, so I was, it's 2 years after getting married, so I'm a little heavy, love getting a little weight, but I was breathing heavy, like walking down 1 and then back up, and I was like, how do these guys do it for 4 days or 5 days, really? And then compete at a high level while doing it. And they have to walk the entire course. I mean, somebody's carrying their bag, but I didn't have a bag. I had a beer and probably a pretzel or something. But
pimento cheese. They don't serve pretzels at the Masters. What's wrong with you?
I'm sure you can find a pretzel somewhere. But anyway, no, it does change the way that you watch it, because you have a lot more respect for, 1, the golfer, and then 2, the course, that the golfer that's playing it,
I mean, again, they do this, every week. I mean, they do it every day.
Oh, for sure.
So of
course
they're in shape. But I mean, I'm not taking away anything from what you're saying. I mean, obviously, people always, the question is, are they really athletes? And of course they're athletes.
But just on TV, you don't see the undulations. You don't see how far down they walk and then back up they walk, especially at Augusta. I mean, they do a beautiful job of broadcasting it, but it's like, unless you go there and see it, you have no clue.
Yeah,
it makes you appreciate why it's so difficult for Tiger the last couple of years. Is getting around the course, and the average guy sitting there saying, well, he can't walk, and it's just like it's a lot of walking, and B, it's a ton uphill, up and down the hill. So
definitely.
Yeah, 100%. To echo what Bubba said, you definitely have an appreciation for it. Number 1's the craziest. Like, I knew about the other stuff, but like number 1 is truly like, you can't tell what kind of walk that is. But you talk about a guy like being able to get up and down that course all the time, being an older guy or being some injuries and stuff. Freddie Couple still knows how to play that place. Freddie Couple will make the cut every single time he plays this place. It seems
it's incredible.
Like, it's unbelievable. He holed out from like 190. He's hitting woods and hybrids all over the place. I think he's got like 9 hybrids in the bag, and he's just holing out from everywhere. So it's pretty cool that you can see those older guys, if they can get around and walk the course, they can still compete at a place that's, the best golfers in the world, a la Rory Mcilroy playing unbelievable, just, pisses down his leg a little bit and can't figure it out on the last 4 holes.
Rory stayed on his brand for me, which is fade him in the first round every year at the Masters, because he will fuck it up. And obviously he's, arguably the best golfer, or always going to be in the top whatever. There's just something about this course, and I don't know if it's the headspace or what it is, but he was cruising, he was in position, he was -4, and then you double bogey 17, you double bogey 15, then you double bogey 17, and all of a sudden you're even par. And most people want to get out of there even par on day 1, but that's just, this is supposed to be his year. I think he's the most bet guy this year. Everybody you talk to's got him to win. I'm sure you guys probably have a little piece of him to win. I've got a free bet on him to win, I don't like betting on Rory in this event at all. I faded him top 5, top 10, top 20. He's not on my card, but I've got a $0 wager if he wins it to win $650. So, you got to have him, but this is the reason why. It's just like, I don't think this guy's ever going to win it. I don't.
Yeah. So I found a bet on the Hard Rock app, Tampa Hard Rock.
Friend of the pod.
Absolutely. It's going to cost me money or make me money, but I think it's the coolest golf bet you can make. It's a live hole winner. So you can go the next hole that a group's going to play. You can take a golfer to win that hole.
Yeah.
I just found it, and it's the coolest thing ever. I hit Colin Morikawa today to win 17. I think he tied it with somebody else, and it paid out like $20. So
yeah, good.
Pretty cool.
I like it. I've got Morikawa to win top 10. So I would have loved a little better performance today.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good kind of question for the group. Jeff, I don't know how much you have on this, but I know the other two do. So, who do you have alive for a win bet and a top 10 bet? Let's do both sides of it. Who do you like saying Rose either stays stays at par the rest of the way or comes back. Do you have anybody alive in either of those two, or are you really nervous about somebody?
I've got
Yeah.
I've got a live one, Rose. I took it today, middle of his round. And then I took Connors and Matsuyama too, live. So I've got that, and then I've got Cam Young, top 20. I don't know what he did today. I have no clue. Did anybody know what he did today?
He's currently 27th, even par.
Even par.
Okay, all right, got a chance.
Yeah. So you got a log jam, right? I mean, there's umpteen number of guys that are even and -1, and then it starts thinning out at -2, and then you got Ludwig, Corey Connors, and Scheffler at -4 behind Rose. So Tyler, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I got Oberg. Put him in. Shoot, this was a while ago that I put him in, but I got 20 to win 280 on him. Unfortunately, I put it in when he was at his peak. He had a bad 6-week stretch, probably right after I placed that. So got him. He's looking good, steady, just really good golf swing. Cam Smith, another one that if the wind starts blowing and he gets things going, he could make something happen for me as well. I have that on a bonus bet. Got a bunch of little parlay stuff. I don't really have any top 10s. I had Phil. We'll see what happens tomorrow if Phil gets hot and on the weekend if he can make it. You never know with Phil.
Jeff disagrees. Jeff disagrees.
He came in top. What did he come in last year? The last 2 years, I think he was top 20, top 10.
Yeah,
he came in fourth 2 years ago.
2 years ago, he tied Koepka for second.
Yeah. I'm just busting your chops.
No, I'm not. I'm not a huge Phil guy, but you never know. I like the lefties at Augusta. It's just easier to hit a cut than a draw when the pressure's on. So, those are the ones I got. I got Colin Morikawa as well. So, and I got Joaquin Niemann. He was looking great. I have him to lead after tomorrow's round, which he kind of again fell apart the last 4 or 5 holes because on the front 9 he looked like he was just absolutely dialed in.
He looked great.
That one's not looking as good as it did earlier today, but Oberg's my big one at this point. I think he's very Scottie-esque if he just can. I mean, even last year if he didn't put the ball in the water on 11, who knows what happens in that tournament. Just put a little bit of pressure on Scottie. Seems like no one really has yet. So let's see what happens this weekend.
Yeah, for me, I just threw a couple small bets. I got one on DeChambeau and another on Koepka. So a couple, not long shots per se, but a couple guys that if they actually do win, it'll be a decent payment. So that's where I went. Yeah.
Where'd Koepka finish? Even today?
I think 2 over. I think he kind of fell apart a little bit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because I have him too, Jeff.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much automatic. You have to bet him in some fashion for a major.
Yeah, I know those guys hate each other. I know DeChambeau and Koepka hate each other, or I don't know if they still do, but they've kind of switched personalities. And I'm not crazy about golf, but they've kind of switched. I feel like Bryson's more likable now, and Koepka's just always pissed off about something.
I think they've reduced their hatred to just dislike, but amicable. I mean, they played in the match together, right?
Yeah,
after they went head to head, they wound up playing together. So, I hear you though. I think Bryson's whole persona,
has changed.
Yeah, I mean, the YouTube stuff has helped. I mean, people were cheering for him last year. He's a different guy, but he's also not saying stupid stuff like, this is a par 67 or something like that, something crazy. So just looking at my card real quick and looking at the leaderboard. I mean, I'm excited for the weekend. I think I'm alive in a lot of areas. Just in that T11 -1 range, I got 5 guys in the top 10 and top 20. So I like where I'm at. I've got that crazy Sergio play we talked about last week, that free bet for 6,000. He's even. I don't think even is going to come back to win this week, but like we talked about beforehand, Rose at -7. He might not necessarily cough it up. You got a couple sharks behind him with Scottie, Oberg, and those type of guys. Somebody could put on a clinic. I like what Tyler was saying about Cam Smith. If it gets windy, he's already erratic off the tee, but he's amazing in the short game, and he just putts lights out. So I'm not going to call a winner here, but I think you'd be foolish if you don't have Oberg. I think after what you saw today, you might want to live bet him if you faded Scottie. If you can get him at plus odds right now, what's he? He's still plus 200. I mean, it's worth a taste.
Yeah, absolutely. Sergio's outfit today was insane, by the way.
Unbelievable. Ronald McDonald walking around that golf course. What are you doing out there? That was atrocious. Good
It was
Lord.
so bad.
Like at least
It was
Bernhard
so
Langer
bad.
wore the all red like he did back in like the 80s to win the darn thing. Sergio rocks a Ronald McDonald outfit. It's crazy.
It was kind of an NBA city logo uniform combined with some, Savannah Bananas crossed with a
Heinz ketchup bottle.
European
Yeah.
soccer league.
Yeah.
So unbelievable. All right. Well, the Masters is going on all weekend. So I know there's a huge contingent of people out there that might not pick it up till Sunday, but going to be some great action tomorrow, matchup bets. You can still live bet different versions of top 10, top 20, as Bubba was calling out, depending on what app you use or what book you use, you're going to be able to catch some cool live betting in addition to 3 balls, things along those lines. So if you don't bet golf, we're not here to promote it, but at the same time, it's fun if you want to if you're sitting around a TV or sitting in a bar having a few beers, watching with your friends. It's always good to have some live action going. What else is going on this weekend? What are you guys paying attention to?
Well, you guys were talking about the UFC fight last week, right?
Yeah.
That's this Saturday, right? So that's a big deal, obviously.
Yeah. It's a good card for sure.
Yeah.
Patty the Batty.
Patty the Batty.
And
Gotta
then
watch it.
For me, I'll be paying attention to the NBA just because this is the last weekend and you got a bunch of teams out west fighting for seeding position. So, interested to see how that plays out,
No, I'm with you. I'll be paying attention too. I mean, you got the Joker talking about maybe waking the beast after they fired their coach and the GM 3 games before the playoffs.
Crazy.
It's unbelievable. Memphis fired their coach, a week ago?
Mm-hmm. A couple weeks ago, yeah.
2 weeks ago, and everybody was like, you can't do that right before the playoffs. And the Nuggets were like, nope, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Yeah, I mean, they fired the coach and the GM, which is, I mean, not that the GM is going to do much this time of year, but still, that's just crazy. But
yeah,
anyway.
That's insanity. So
I like
Right.
Joker, so I'm rooting.
Is there a
for him.
story behind that? Or they just fired him?
It's going to be one of those
guys.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ash.
No, I was just going to say you're going to get one of those exposés, in a week or two, or after they get bounced from the playoffs, that this has been brewing, and
Yeah.
some running diary of it.
I mean, the main thing though, Bubba, is that 2 of those guys, the GM and the coach, don't get along. They were fighting with each other for like the past 18 months, and it sounds like the owner just basically said, "I've had enough."
Along, you're both gone.
Yeah. So we'll
All
see if
right.
it works.
Well, we're at the bragging rights segment of the pod, so let's talk about last week. We each put in a couple parlays. Tyler, do you have the winners and or losers?
Yes, sir. So kind of starting off with we'll go with the losers since we had 2 wins, but there was an asterisk involved in it. But we'll start with Jeff. Unfortunately, Jeff had his I believe like 4-game parlay here that unfortunately wasn't a W. But Jeff, if you want to talk about it, if you had any insight on those games,
Well,
when you were
real
paying
quick.
attention.
Yeah, I won the bottom 3 there. So the Portland, the Golden State, and the Yankees game all won, and then the game I lost, the Grizzlies hit a buzzer beater. So now that game actually happened early, so I was out of it pretty early. But that one shot killed me.
That happened right at the end of we taped the pod.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you put that in at Parks?
I did.
Parks
in
Casino.
Ben Salem, Pennsylvania, folks.
Friend of the pod.
Very nice.
Very nice. And then we had our 3-game winner, even though it's supposed to be a 4-bet parlay. So we had Bubba here, got the W, but again, asterisk, got to be a 4-way parlay, Bubba. So unfortunately, we switched gears to our real winner here, which was JayAsh with our first W. JayAsh with the Phillies, Braves, Florida -2.5, and Houston +5.5, getting the W there. JayAsh. So he's got the first bragging rights, the first official bragging rights here on the Casual Chaos podcast.
I'm not mad at Bubba. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. I understand. I understand. But I am a little disappointed in myself. I think I even said it last week. I took Houston. I took the points, which, I'll take the 350 win or whatever that number was. But if it was the money line, that would have been closer to $1,000 payout. But played it safe. I think those two baseball games were both on 6 or 7 game losing streaks. So I played to stop the streak. And then, the Gators if you bet the Gators over the weekend, you did really well. So we'll take it. So that sets up this week's portion of the bragging rights parlay. I think everybody put in a 4-team parlay this week.
4 teams,
$25 bet. What do we got?
Yes, sir. I'll throw it to Jeff. Jeff, you can kind of talk about your bet that's coming up on the screen now.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is already a loser because I just looked down at the score. The Knicks-Pistons game, I got the Knicks winning on the money line, and they're losing. There's like 20 seconds left, and they're down by 7 or 8, so that game's basically over. So there's not much to talk about here, other than the fact that I know that Ashen picked the Pistons in that game, so he's at least still alive. So
how dare you?
So we'll throw it to JayAsh. JayAsh, you can talk about your bet that apparently is still alive. We got some variety in this bet here.
I needed a little flavor. I needed to carry it a little bit into the weekend as well. I did take the Pistons tonight. I think they want to lock in that seed, but more importantly, I think they're going to wind up playing the Knicks in the playoffs, that first round 3-6 matchup. So that's why I took them.
Just real quick. That's actually the reason why I took the Knicks, because the Knicks are struggling to hold on to that 3 spot right now with the Pacers.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I thought the Knicks would be motivated to win that game, but and the Pacers won tonight too. So I think they're only 1 game behind the Knicks now for that 3 spot. It's worth watching.
Yeah. Well, I took the Nuggets tomorrow night. Kind of the same thing. I'm just going off of Jokic's comments. Did they wake the beast? I always like playing Denver at home. Anyway, a little bit of altitude, and I just think the Grizzlies are who knows what they're doing. So tomorrow I got the White Sox looking to end that streak. Red Sox had a nail biter tonight. Got to travel. White Sox typically win once every 10 days, so they usually catch you on the first game of a series. So that's the logic there. And then we went with Patty to Batty. Threw a little UFC in there. He's a favorite, which is unusual. I know Tyler likes the other guy, and I don't blame him. But Patty's been fighting really well. He's been wanting a title shot, and I just like his chances here. 25 pays 306. Hopefully, I get some bragging rights again next week.
Absolutely, and then you got Bubba, and I like the other guy strictly because it's a plus sign. I like Patty, but I would probably take Patty if he was the plus sign on that one, if he was the dog. So, but Bubba, here's your. Look at this. He did it this week. He got 4 teams in there. Good job,
I got
Bubba.
4 in there.
It's trainable.
I will join Jeff in the loser's corner already this for this round here. The Twins. I took the Twins money line, and the Royals beat them 3-2. The Twins were up, I think, 2-1 or 2-0 in the top of the 7th. I think it was 2-1 in the top of the 7th, and they blew the lead. So I'm out. The Red Sox, they weren't going to get swept at home against the Blue Jays. At least that was my thought. They had to go into extras to get it done, but they ended up winning. And then Phillies Braves is in a weather delay. So I don't know what's going to happen to that, but it's a loser.
So you already lost one of these?
Yeah.
I'm out. Yeah. The Twins.
You're the only one alive, my friend.
Wow. I know we've only been doing this for a short period of time, but we've got to look into, how to record a podcast if you're going to lose your bet while you're recording the podcast.
Yeah.
We got to talk to producer Tyler about some editing software or something, because, you got to be alive coming out of the podcast. So.
We did get off to a late start today. So
right. Okay.
we won't talk about that, but we got off to a late start. So
for bragging rights, I've already advanced into tomorrow. So we're good.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, hopefully we come back with a win.
I hope you do, man. I hope you do.
Bubba and I both put our action in through Hard Rock Bets here in Florida. So shout out to Hard Rock Bets, a friend of the pod. We're going to wrap this up, but again, send your tickets in We want to make this an interactive community. We need your support to do so. We would love to talk about you on the pod. We'd love to get some videos from you, and just hit us up. Follow us on all the socials, TikTok, Instagram, X. Everything is at Casual Chaos Live, Facebook. As you see them come across the screen, if you're just listening to us, wherever you find your pods, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iHeartMedia. If you pod, we're out there. Hit us up on the YouTube channel at Casual Chaos Live. We are enjoying doing this. We are new to the game, and we think we have a fan base and community in the making. So we want to hear from you. Please follow us. Let us know what you think, what we can do better, how we can improve, and how we can get your engagement. For Jeff, for Bubba, for producer Tyler, I'm JayAsh. Thanks again for joining us on the Casual Chaos podcast, the Sports Wagering Community. We'll be recording next Wednesday and releasing a pod Thursday. So although Bubba stayed with the baby face, we're going to screw you up on the timing of this, but we're going to get a pod out to you next week. Thanks again, everybody. We had a great time.
See you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
See you
Good luck
guys
this weekend.
You too. We'll talk to you. Hi, everyone. This is JayAsh, one of the hosts of the Casual Chaos podcast you are about to listen to discusses gambling and wagering on sporting events. Please be advised the gambling and sports wagering content during this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only and does not constitute financial or gambling advice. Sports wagering involves significant risk. If you choose to gamble, please do so responsibly and only gamble with funds that you can comfortably afford to lose. All opinions, wagering tickets discussed, or implied wagers on the Casual Chaos podcast are not guarantees to result in financial gain. You must be 21 years or older or of legal gambling age in your jurisdiction to participate in sports wagering. Please verify the gambling and sports wagering laws and regulations within your jurisdiction prior to placing bets. Listeners are solely responsible for their own wagering decisions and outcomes. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, help is available. Call or text the National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. We encourage everyone to engage with sports betting responsibly. The host and the Casual Cast podcast assume no liability for any losses incurred as a result of listening to this content.